You're watching Rurouni K95's anime review on Ray the Animation. Hi Ruronis, this is your pal Rurouni K95 here. Today's anime review, we get to cover another anime series that has 13 episodes from 2006. For today's anime review is Ray the Animation. Ray is basically Ray the Animation is based on the manga the same name by Akihito Yoshitomi that ran in Champion Red magazine from 2002 until 2006 and was compiled into 7 volumes as well. An anime television series, Ray the Animation, has ran from April 6, 2006 through June 2006, which is basically a 3-month anime series only has lasted 13 episodes in 2006. So without any further ado, which is right here and right now, let's review this anime. Let's begin here. Misato, a nurse at a local hospital, witnesses an accident as she encounters a young woman who officially treats that wounded with an apparent ability to see inside their bodies. The next day, at Director Sawa's hospital, the same woman arrives and introduces herself to Misato as Kasugano Rei, a young surgeon ready to commence work. Rei is assigned to operate a dying drug dealer and initially refuses to use an unimproved and experimental anesthetic for the operation as well. You guessed it. But eventually agrees. She then uses her special visual ability to remove the man's tumor. Meanwhile, Misato, along with the nurses Ri and Rumi and Mami, use their martial arts skills to fight off criminals who have been sent to kill their sick associate as well. Later, she encounters Blackjack, which we'll get to the character in just a moment, who has been shadowing her and admits that her ability enables her to see into people's bodies, but she cannot see what is in their hearts. Anna Takakawa, a selfish young girl in Director Sawa's hospital, needs a new heart, and her sister Kana pleads with Rei to use transplant in her own heart. Rei only agrees because she intends to implant her business partner Toshiaki Shinoyama's new experimental artificial heart, but doesn't tell the sisters. However, Anna goes into decline and Rei has to start the transplant operation. Fortunately, Shinoyama arrives with a new smaller version of his artificial heart, which Rei successfully implants. When Anna recovers, she reunites with Kana and tearfully apologizes to Kana for demanding her heart. One day, Shinoyama takes Rei and the 3 nurses to an aquarium near the ocean. However, his intention is for Rei to perform underwater surgery on the son of an important politician who is infected with a dangerous pathogen which cannot be exposed to air. By this time, she agrees to extirpate the lesions, but when she must clear her suit over a bikini to protect herself from the pathogen. Above all this, much to her annoyance and Shinoyama's delight. During the operation, a power failure prevents Rei from completing the operation and cutting the oxygen to the patient. Misato suggests that they reroute emergency power to the room, and Rei manages to complete the operation. Later, Rei visits the quarantine boy, Kenji, who is able to read her mind, and she gives him a smell she found on the beach. Shinoyama finds a young girl with a broken arm and amnesia after an accident, but without a surname. He takes Rei to visit her, and she recognizes the girl by the number tattoo on her shoulder as Akariban. The meeting prompts Rei to recall her past when she was one of the group of children raised by a syndicate to be organ donors. They had no names, only numbers tattooed on them, so they create their own names during Akariban's treatment. Director Sawa becomes suspicious of her appearance in the hospital, especially after she releases a debilitating gas from the seat on her neck and attacks him. Shinoyama manages to set off the fire alarm, triggering the sprinkler system and neutralizing the gas. The seed propagates itself, causing everyone to attack Rei, but she manages to excise the buds from their necks, including Kariban, who later moves in with her. A girl named Sayaka Oyama is admitted to the hospital with spontaneous bleeding and speaks as if it was possessed at this point. But that's the question. In a flashback, Rei tells the nurses of her friend Miyabi, who ate ceremonial oysters as a part of her duties as a Miko. Rei says that a few days later, she cuts off an enormous growth that had grown on Miyabi from the parasitic oysters in what was her first surgery. Back in the present, Oyama admits to being possessed and starts bleeding from wounds which opens up in her body again. Rei calls Shinoyama, who takes Oyama to a place where an old cherry tree being cut down. Rei realizes that Oyama is having sympathetic response to the tree's plight. Before the tree is completely cut through, she removes a cherry seed from Oyama. Rei concludes that the tree was using a girl as a way to stay alive and protect its offspring. Rei receives a glass of scalpels in the mail from an unknown source. Later at the hospital, a prematurely aged man, Yoshio Asada, is brought suffering from headaches and abnormal pain. His body reacts to a metal and electronics. Akariban recognizes him as a man from the syndicate which raised her, and Rei receives a phone call from the aging man who was responsible for Asada's condition, saying that he sent the scalpels to enable Rei to operate on him. As a test of her abilities, Rei successfully completes the delicate operation without the use of metal or electronics. As Asada leads Shinoyama and Rei to an abandoned sanitarium, and Rei recognizes as the place where she was raised, Masato then invites Rei to a party arranged by the head of the Hiruchi Life, an artificial organ manufacturer. The party is for the birthday of his daughter Sumire, who turns out to be a childhood friend of Shinoyama. Rei notices that she is being kept alive by artificial organs. Sumire professes her love for Shinoyama, but he rejects her. She drinks alcohol and damages her artificial organs in order to have them replaced by Shinoyama's. Her wish was granted, but when Rei herself performs the operation. Later, as Rei and Shinoyama discuss their relationship, Rei's childhood sweetheart Koichi calls her and says they should escape together in a reference to their past. A young woman named Kaori Sakai is brought to the hospital suffering from mysterious symptoms, and she feels something is inside her. A malicium manifests itself outside Kaori as branching filaments covering her body. Director Sawa proposes that it's a combination of a fungus and a parasitic worm's egg inside. Rei realizes then it was the creation of a syndicate like the one which killed her friend Hana when they were children, which is not in a good way. When Rei operates to eliminate the heart of the colony and saves Kaori, the medical team suspects that she contacted the parasite in a village called Hotaru Rudani during a ski trip with friends. Apparently, all of the village residents mysteriously disappeared 6 months earlier. At the end of the episode, an older Koichi is shown reminiscing about Rei and hoping to see her soon. Shinoyama drives Rei and Akariban to the village of Hotaru Dani, where the population have disappeared overnight. At a store on the way, they learn that Tetsuzo Omori still lives there with his adopted sickly daughter Saiko, who looks just like his deceased wife. While a boy called Takumi demands that they take him with them to visit his classmate Saiko. Takumi reveals that he saw figures hazmat hat suits and arrives just before before the villagers disappeared. They met Saiko and her overly protective father near the village, but Saiko goes into a cardiac arrest. Rei saves Saiko, and Tetsuzo tells them that after his wife Saiko died 15 years earlier, and an unknown man promised to bring them back a year later. He returned with a baby who called Saiko, who just grew to be the image of his wife. When Saiko developed the same heart condition, the man took them to this hospital. But when they returned, with all the villagers have disappeared. As Shinoyama and Rei drive back home, that they realize that the syndicate was already creating clones 15 years ago. Suddenly, their van is attacked by a woman on a motorcycle who looks just like Rei. Rei returns to the hospital and tells Director Sawa that knows the syndicate have been cloning humans and demands more information and refuses. But he refuses. Rei meets her mother, who explains that she worked with the H-Ring man who originally shared the same dream to heal people, but he left to develop clones on the way as a way to resurrect one woman desperately wanted to bring back to life. However, the clones were born without the original's memories. He saw them as failures. So they were given numbers used as organ donors. Suddenly, the woman looking like Rei disrupts the decision, explains her name is One and that she is the perfect clone because she has the memories of the original. One tries to kill Rei, but she is stopped by Koichi, who leaves before they can be reunited. Rei's mother refuses the name the woman H-Ring Man who tried to clone after the H-Ring Man's headquarters. Rei easily failurates the building after her identical appearance to One. She confronts him about his actions in exploiting the clones he created. However, he is not apologetic and even says that One is a failure. She does not have all the memories of the original, and he calls her a spare. Sawa bursts in. One helps the H-Ring Man escape. However, Koichi arrives and kills One and then leaves with the H-Ring Man. Karibon telephones Rei and that she says that she and Shinoyama should meet each other at Koichi and Mount Masuki. They arrived at the underground facility, which contains a recreation of the H-Ring Man's childhood village. Suddenly, memories come flooding back to Rei, which are not hers. Meanwhile, at the Sawa hospital, they discover Samir has been abducted by a group of people, including Akaribon. Back at the village, Rei meets Koichi and shows her H-Ring Man happily living with a young girl named Honaka. She is a clone of his deceased mother who died when he was 10 years old, and she retains the memories of his previous life. Koichi reveals herself to be the clone of the H-Ring Man, though he insists that he is nothing like the man who created him in revenge of how H-Ring Man treated his childhood friends. Koichi calmly kills both H-Ring Man and shoots the young Honaka clone when she tries to protect him. Koichi declares his own love for the confused Rei, while Yakari-ban declares for the love for him. Akari-ban reveals that she has been working with Koichi all along, including the abducting Samir to retrieve Rei's eyes. Explosives set by Koichi and as a cave-in as injuries by Shinoyama and Rei damaging her right eye. When the hospital staff arrive, they only find Shinoyama and the dying Honokawa. Rei awakens to find that Koichi recreated the white room where he and Rei, Blue, and the others grew up. Meanwhile, Shinoyama tracks Samir to a remote island and Sawa Mountains, a rescue mission. Koichi plans to take Rei's eyes back from Samir, but Rei refuses and accuses him for having the same obsession with the past as the H-Ring Man. Akari accuses him for being the same behavior. She attacks Rei in a jealous rage, but Koichi shoots her. Rei then collapses from her injuries, and believing her to be dead, Koichi commits suicide. The survivors are rescued by Sawa, who finds work for the numbers in a hospital as he saves Honaka, whose recovery is helped by a growing friendship with Kenji, and Shinoyama takes care of Rei, and she finally acknowledges her love for him. Later, Blackjack arrives and restores both of the Rei's eyes, and she is handed for the first case to work on a cure for Kenji's illness, as you noticed there, if you will. And that's my review on Rei the Animation. Oh yeah, and the character Blackjack, who is from the same name from Osamu Tezuka, is in this anime. And yes, this anime has given in the title to explain what is going on in Rei the Animation, because this anime encapsulates only 13 episodes. You can watch this for free on YouTube or Crunchyroll if it's available on there, or you can get it on DVD as well. So that's going to be it for my anime review on Rei the Animation for today. Thank you for watching, but before we go, here's my thoughts on this. When I first watched this anime, I can tell there's a character Blackjack appears in this, which is another one from Osamu Tezuka's work in this particular anime series. I really admire this series, despite that this has another character from Osamu Tezuka's work in this anime, if you ever see this. If you haven't seen this anime, give Ray the animation a watch if you want to check it out. Hope subscribe for content. My anime plan link in the description of the book. Share this video on your Twitter, Facebook. If you have Twitter and Facebook account, all social media, be sure to give this video a thumbs up. Clicking on the like button on this video. Feel free to leave in the comments in the comment section. Be sure to subscribe to my channel. Feel free to join my channel, especially new to my channel. Hit the notifications bell and keep it otaku for this anime review. RuroniK95. I got another anime review next. Stay tuned for my next anime review. I got another anime series that I have not reviewed for tomorrow's anime review on Figure 17. Stay tuned for my next anime review on Figure 17 because you won't want to miss another anime review.